the scale of the attack that we're seeing is massive. This is the biggest attack on Iran since the 1980s Iran-Iraq war. So I think the market is realizing the potential of the risks here. We haven't seen any kind of impact on oil supplies. I was just looking at kind of headlines coming out of the Iranian state companies saying that there is no damage to tanks or refineries. So far, there's no impact on supply, but potentially this could really be a turning point for where we see Iranian exports. But it's just too early to say where we're heading.
Indeed, Amena, and you make a great point here because for a long time markets have been pushing aside the geopolitical risk. Why do you think prices have reacted so violently this time? You mentioned, of course, the supply risk, but we cannot confirm yet if indeed supply will take a hit as a result of this Israeli strike.
For sure. I mean, at the back of everybody's minds, Dan, I mean, Iran hasn't really been impacted by sanctions. Their productions has been more or less flat at that 3.3 million barrel per day mark, and their exports around 1.6 to 1.7. So they've been keeping that stable. So if you have some of the supply impacted, of course, that's a hit to supply. But in addition to that, I mean, everyone kind of brings back the Strait of Hormuz. You have 20% of the world's supplies going through the Strait of Hormuz, and any blockage of the strait, that's when we're talking about a possible massive jump in oil prices, perhaps to the 3 digits here.
Indeed. So now the obvious focus is, of course, on how Iran could potentially respond here. I mentioned before that the leadership has already vowed a response against Israel and the United States. Do you believe that Iran could respond in a way that puts Gulf oil flows at risk?
I think at this point, it's anything is possible. We're living in a very volatile situation. It's very difficult, as you've pointed out, to know exactly how they would respond. But in turn, I mean, this automatically just puts insurance companies, shipping, and so on. So for the Iranians to continue their exports at the same level, I think they will find it challenging. But so far, since we don't have an actual outage, I can't tell you that there's going to be a response from other countries, and I know we'll get to that next, to return some of those supplies. So for now, I would say all options are on the table. We're dealing with a kind of unprecedented situation. So let's see what the few days bring.
Indeed, an excellent point. And I've also been speaking with analysts earlier today about the potential reaction from the Iranian proxies as well, or what's left of them. The clear risk here being the Strait of Hormuz as well, where we have seen Houthi operations in recent years. I'm wondering how vulnerable is the Strait of Hormuz right now, and what's the real world impact given current flows if Iran or its proxies move to disrupt it?
As I mentioned, Dan, the Strait of Hormuz, you have 20% of the world's oil funneling through the strait. That's around 20 million barrels per day. Potentially, I mean, some of those volumes could be diverted. You have the East-West pipeline, you have the pipeline in the UAE, so maybe a total of maybe 6.5 million barrels a day of that could be diverted in the other direction. But still, that's enough to have a big impact on oil markets. But we've also seen statements over, previous years from the U.S. Fifth Fleet that if that happened, that's something that will not be tolerated, and they would take action immediately to unblock the strait. So I would say this is a kind of extreme scenario, although we are in an extreme situation. So that's why I'm not putting that option completely off the table. We need to consider it, but it's also an extreme case where you will get intervention from the Fifth Fleet and others to try to unblock the strait.